I can hear you.
I can hear you. Good. Yeah. So, Martin, tell us where you're up to on this journey, so-called journey.
Oh, well, it's many years, many years. I've kind of been practicing various forms of Buddhism over the years, and I had an awakening at a retreat maybe about 10 years ago, which kind of, was, a complete shift. It really was quite transformative at the time. And I didn't really know what it was because although I'd been going to lots of Buddhist things, nobody really talked about Ken shows or anything like that. Back in those days, it was all just kind of mindfulness of breathing and, retreats.
Yeah.
So when it happened, I really didn't know what it was, but I obviously knew it was very significant. But it made a big difference at the time, but then gradually over the kind of weeks, months, years, it kind of the uh, the salience of it kind of drifted. The reality of it kind of became more cerebral and less something which I was directly in touch with. And then, well, I don't know how much of my story you want to hear, but then I was so keen to get back to that experience, I decided to go on one of these ayahuasca things. So I did a few ayahuasca ceremonies, which I thought would, you know, knock me back into gear. And it was just terrible. It was absolutely traumatic. It was horrendous. Three episodes out of this, and it left me very traumatized. Again, I had no context for it and nobody to explain what was going on, and I felt really, I thought I destroyed myself. But gradually, over a period of about 3 years, that kind of then simmered or settled down. But and now I've been following this awakening curriculum just for the last couple of months, and just find that this is something which is I'm finding useful and finding kind of gets me back in touch with a kind of reality which I know is there, but which don't have great access to. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Mm. So, from what you say, it seems pretty clear that you feel the need to go back to what you had once.
That's right. Yeah, I know there's something there. I know there's a truth there, which a reality which I have experienced, and which is, uh, something which I know it's all very ego driven. It's something I want to get back to, but I know to get back to it, I have to not want to get back to it and just let everything, just surrender to it, and it'll all somehow get there. And how much control I have over this, well, obviously I have no control over it, although I like to think I have. But I just know that if I I think if I expose myself to situations like this, it gives me more opportunity to
Sure.
surrender, to let go, to get out of my head and get into my body. I've always felt I'm very not in touch with my body. I think this is a big part of it, that I'm kind of very cerebral. When people say you feel this in your body, well, I don't feel much, and I know that's something which, I don't know. I hope that it's something if I practice more, I will get more in touch with my body, get out of my head, and get in touch with that's what's really going on rather than what I think is going on.
So, do, have you had any stories turned up about what happened when you had that first shift? What caused that, or what was involved in that happening?
That I was on a 10-day retreat, and it was what's called an insight dialogue retreat. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Can't remember the guy who ran it, but it was in the last day of that. I, I had done the sort of meditations, and I'm not a very good meditator. I'm disciplined, but it's not something I ever have had great experiences with. But then just doing this one-on-one dialogue with someone else. I was just talking, and suddenly it all just blew apart. So that was very much the context. I kind of felt the other person was doing it to me rather than me having done anything. But yeah, it was just talking, trying to be mindful of my body as I was talking. And I don't know what triggered it. And if I knew what triggered it, obviously I would try to go back to that. But definitely was something to do with the talking to someone one-to-one, exposing myself to someone and being in touch with someone else's reality seemed to cause some kind of shift. So that's, yeah.
And so what do you think was involved in that not being there anymore? Was it a sudden point of it not being there, or did it fade over time? Or
it faded over time. Yeah, definitely faded over time. I was so, I mean, well, it's, I think it was quite classic, all the kind of things which I experienced at that time. But, I had this kind of sensation that I had no doubt about anything, this huge relief. I thought, I can get rid of all these Buddhist books. I'm not going to have to read any more of this stuff. I felt that I'd really, rather than, before it kind of felt, and it does feel now more, that I kind of can almost get there by following a protocol and by using something in my head. It's like if you're dancing or something, just following the steps in a very cognitive way. But then when I went into that shift, I just felt I was dancing, and you're no longer having to think about what you were doing. Whereas a lot of this kind of Buddhist stuff, I'm always trying to think my way into the thing. Think, okay, let go now, or yeah, I'm thinking about what I'm doing rather than just doing it. And I have no confidence that if I just do it, that it'll happen, So, yeah, it is all, it's all paradoxical, isn't it? But I just know I just have to, if I could let go, but then you're trying to let go, there's too much trying involved. And there's this whole idea about seeking. I can just so clearly see that the seeking is what's stopping me getting there, because I'm seeking. I could just stop seeking and just be, then you would arrive there. And it's just trying to get into a place where that can happen. Yeah.
yeah.
I feel I'm a very self-conscious person. I feel, all my life I felt very, I know people all say they're self-conscious or they're shy or whatever, but I'm always very aware of me, very, very aware of me. And I kind of feel it to an extent that I think other people probably aren't quite as involved with their own self-image as I am. I think I'm concerned what other people are thinking, or I'm double, I'm double guessing everything that's going on all the time. Yeah.
But do you remember that when after that initial shift, that there was no thinking of you, or was there still thinking of you?
No, much less so. I just felt much more relaxed. Yeah, much more, in touch with, a different reality, just with life, with what was going on. It was, and I just had such a powerful feeling that, I was never born and I'm never going to die. I just, when I said that, it just felt so real and so reassuring. And then for years afterwards, even though I was, because I didn't really realize at the time that this is obviously just the beginning, when you have this shift, that you have to, all this hate, greed, delusion is all still there. So when that would come up, I would get a bit cross with myself. And then I just had to say, you were never born, you're never going to die. And everything just kind of dropped away at those stages. You just felt relaxed, and you just thought, well, that is the ultimate truth. And whatever happens, at least I know that. Whereas I don't know that so much now. I know it kind of cognitively, but over the years that has kind of gone. That conviction that was the case. So, yeah. So that's what I feel I want to get back to, but I know that's just me saying that. It's not.
What would you say if I said to you, you're never going to get back to that because that's done and dusted and finished? what you might go forward to, who knows? But it definitely won't be what you experienced before, because you've changed since then, haven't you?
Yes.
So did that make you feel disappointment or
It makes me feel disappointed, but I know that's just my ego feeling disappointed, and I have conviction that what you're saying is true, and that yes, whatever is the other side of this is going to be much better than, or not much better, but it's going to be different than this. And
Mm,
me wanting it is totally irrelevant because me will never get this.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. All right. What if I said then that everything that you think you know is a bullshit story?
I can I can know the truth of that. Yeah. And I can experience that. I can experience that. Like this morning, I was out running. I don't know if it was reading, because I read your little missive in the mornings, and that there, I would go out for a run. I'm kind of something I do. I run every day because that gets me in touch with my body. And when I do that, having read your thing this morning, I can't even remember what it was about, but I did get that experience this morning that when I was running, I was just running. There was just the sensations of running, and then thoughts would come into my head, and I could see that those thoughts had nothing to do with what I was experiencing through the running, the physical aspect of the running, and the thoughts. That these kind of angry thoughts or thoughts about planning or whatever which are coming into my head were totally, it's a different sort of reality. It's just
Yeah.
unconnected. And I think that was maybe in your missive this morning. And that there really, yeah, I could feel that very profoundly as I was running along. Normally, I would read something like that and then I'd be thinking about it. I'd be thinking, oh, this sensation of running doesn't have anything to do with these thoughts I'm having. And I'd kind of, whereas
Yeah.
today there was a distinction. I could see the two as being distinct. And I thought, well, yes, there's a gap there, which something, coming apart. And if I could prize those two things apart more and more, I would get to this state where I would see that these thoughts, because, it's very easy, and teachers are always sort of saying, oh, your thoughts aren't real, thoughts aren't true, thoughts are, well, that's, you can say that all you want, but it doesn't necessarily land,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's slightly frustrating hearing that because you just know, well, yes, I know that, but to me, they do feel real. Whereas
Yeah.
today, I did get more of a glimpse of that those thoughts weren't real in the sense that the sensations of running were real. So,
Or would it be more accurate to say that your thoughts were you experienced your thoughts, so they were real in that sense. You
yeah.
experienced running, it was real in that sense, but the two weren't necessarily connected in any way. Would that be a
Yeah.
more accurate way to put it?
It would, yes. I mean, to say, the aspect of being real is, well, what is real? But they weren't connected because before you kind of feel, because when you're running, you have a lot of resistance to running because it's painful, and you don't want to be doing it. So you're running along, you're thinking, oh, this is painful, or, well, what's painful? Is it the legs are painful, or is it your thoughts are painful? And I was able to, I've got more of an insight that today that the legs aren't painful. It's the thought, or the legs are painful, but they're not causing a problem. The problem,
Yeah.
the resistance is in your
Yeah.
head. Is that kind of, and I know that kind of cognitively, you've read enough books that keep telling you that sort of thing. But yeah, to actually experience the difference was,
Yeah. So what you did experience was that the idea of painful, or the thoughts about painful were hard to locate specifically as pain. That somehow that the ideas about painfulness had its own life.
That's correct. Yeah, they were distinct from just the sensation that you had in your legs.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So here you go. You're telling me that you're feeling the sensation in your legs, you're feeling stuff in your body when you run, but then a moment ago you told me that you have trouble feeling things.
yeah, I think I have a feeling I kind of go running because that is painful, So there is that sensation. Whereas I just sit here and you sort of say, "Well, what are you feeling in your abdomen at the moment?" I find it difficult to do something. It's almost I have to self harm myself to actually experience the pain. Uh,
Right. right.
Obviously, it's not to, a pathological degree, but,
Yeah,
it
I
seems
get
to
you.
me that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So would you say that the running is a version of self-harm just so that you can feel?
Well, I wonder if that is the case. I wonder if that is the case. That, and I'm sure I'm not unique. I think a lot of people do these kind of things. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, who knows?
what their motivations are, who knows? But
Yeah,
I've often suspected that's perhaps why I go running, and have done it almost every day of my life for the last 40 years,
yeah, yeah,
as a
yeah.
as a way of just getting in touch with my body.
So what if we say what the actual thing, what it actually is irrelevant to anything? That your experience is your experience, and that the moment you try and describe it and define it, it 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 changes it, or it doesn't do it justice.
Mhm. It's almost unrelated to it in a way, or
Yes, yeah, yeah,
it's just a different sphere altogether. It's like a dream. You're dreaming about it rather than the reality of what's
yeah.
actually happening.
I have a question. What makes it your experience?
Yeah, thinking about it makes it my experience, I suppose. Yeah. So it's not my experience. Yeah, no, I see exactly what you mean. If I uh, look into that, it isn't. It doesn't take much for me to claim it as my experience, but I can see that that is a claim.
It's kind of inbaked in our interpretation, our narrative, because we've been conditioned to filter experience through happening to me. But it's just a filter. It's
Yeah.
an interpretation of what is happening wrapped around the center that we imagine is me.
I can certainly cognitively totally see where you're coming from, and I can experience that, but it's maintaining the experience is sort of difficult. Is
Yeah, but it doesn't, you can't see it once and then think that it's done. You kind of need to keep looking
right.
with that question.
Yeah.
What makes this my experience? What makes this, even just question this context around what you're doing right now in this meeting? You're giving this whole experience a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And in that meaning, you're including a me
Mm-hmm.
that is doing something, getting somewhere, achieving something. So you need to look
Yeah.
at the context, the interpretation, the how the narrative kind of reinforces the belief in the self.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No. I definitely can see how the whole thing is constructed, and that it is a construction. Uh, but then my mind goes to that and says, "Oh, this is construction," and then it's
And then my mind wants to move on. It doesn't just want to look. It just wants to check this. I understand, and then okay, but what do we do next? Stop doing
yeah,
that and keep looking.
yeah, yeah. Because I would then sort of say, well, who's doing the construction then, or who's there's always someone behind it. It's like
Yeah,
yeah, it's like I keep thinking it's always like a set up job. There's always well, you would say that, wouldn't you? Well, who's behind it? It's
if I could just give you right now the ability to drop all questions, where would you be? How would that be experienced? If the mind stopped asking any more questions, trying to understand, trying to give any
yeah.
grasp onto any knowing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would make me feel quite insecure then. I would feel that I was wanting to grasp onto something. I was looking for solid ground somewhere. That I was just floating
Who
freely.
wants
I
to
was
do that?
say
Who
again.
wants to grasp onto something?
Oh well, yeah. I know it's me, my ego. It wants to wants that security. I want. Yeah.
The mind is uncomfortable with just staying still. It wants to know, it wants to grasp onto something, the next thing.
Yeah, I would feel I was out of control, I suppose. Yeah, if I couldn't question and define what was really happening. I would just feel I was floating freely in space and with nothing to hang on to. I would feel
perfect.
As a child, well, this maybe my one memory as a child, I remember like a very, very young person, always, brought up Christian, and I was always worried that, if I was to live forever, I would just end up floating in space freely, all by myself, nobody around. It would just be me with nothing to, hold on to, no security, just drifting alone forever. And I kind of feel if I was to stop, asking questions, I would kind of be in that state. I would just be floating freely forever. But it would be me floating freely forever, where actually there wouldn't be a me doing the floating. It would just be,
So all the grasping, all the questions, all the needing to know is just an attempt to control reality, which isn't controllable, but it creates a sense of security.
Mm-hmm.
So are you willing to live without that false sense of security?
If that's what it takes, I would say yes. But again, am I willing to do it? Well, no, I'm not willing to do it. But I know behind me, the reality is that is what's required. It's just a case of letting go. And this is what we always get back to, this kind of surrender. Well, how do I surrender? When I will never surrender.
Yeah, exactly. Surrendering will happen when there is no more I to grasp onto control. So it's nothing you can cultivate. It's just something that happens when the system has.
Well, that's kind of I know the truth is there. I know. Yeah, I do know. Strong confidence, no doubt in this. But it's just, I want so much to let go, but that's just makes it less so, doesn't it? Less able to. The more you want to let go, the less you can do. So it's how you get to that place where you just drop it.
Let go of that want. There's nothing you can do to make that happen.
No. And I suppose you just have to bring yourself back to that time and time again, because otherwise you get to the point where you're wanting to want to not want. It's it all goes back. It's like mirrors, it just keeps kind of getting reflected back at you, and you kind of feed it back into your system, and it's you just have to break out of that.
Either you will get back to it or you won't. That is out of your control.
Right. So why am I? Then I think, well, how did I get myself here today to listen to this? Because this is what I need. I mean, this is the portal. But
that's a good question. I think you should look at that. How did you end up here?
Mm-hmm. You then get to this stage where you think there's some kind of script being written, and it all just falls into place, and you just are, following the story, you're following the script, and you've no control at all, and it's just going to happen. And then I kind of feel like you guys are all out there in outer space in some kind of big control center, all just pulling levers to get me here, to see this, to get this to happen.
That's a creative story.
Well, it kind of is, but this is kind of what conspiracy theories, I suppose, are all about, aren't they? People invent these conspiracies that this is all being put in place. So, I mean, as a kid, I even had that real Truman Show effect. I often did think, when I leave this classroom, is everyone inside then just, you know, deciding what they're all going to do next to manipulate me because I'm the center of the world and they're all manipulating me, not in a kind of schizophrenic, paranoid sort of way, but just thought, well, could that be the case? You know, but yeah, this is all a story, yeah, but this is maybe what the human mind does. It just makes stories and believes the story. It's just, how do I get, how do I drop the story?
It puts ownership on the story.
Yes. Yeah.
I hear you say you would like to let go. Are you aware of how you're holding on? Or that you're holding on?
I think the very fact I'm trying, just the fact I'm kind of trying to control the process is what's doing the holding on. Yeah, maybe I'm just telling myself I'm holding on, and it's, yeah.
Do you get that there is no you controlling the process? The process is happening.
Yes, I get that.
You. Yeah, I'm just saying there was never a you. There's never been a you. Everything that has happened without a you.
I certainly understand that completely, and I do feel it. When you say that, I feel it. Yes, I can feel that. And it's just a case of getting, just feeling it all the time, and just, yeah. It's certainly, yeah. That's very, yeah, that brings this kind of sensation of relaxation and relief. When you say that, it's a big relief. I remember when I had that kind of shift I had those years ago, I felt someone had, injected me with some, heroin or something. It just this kind of big decompression. And when you say things like that, yeah, I get that kind of sense of, yeah, it's a sense of relief, I suppose. Yeah. The tightness isn't there so much, the struggle isn't there. Yeah, it's just a case of feeling into that. Yeah.
No, it's not a case of feeling into that.
Okay.
That's just more doing, isn't it? That's just giving yourself a job to do that creates the illusion that there's a someone there that's got to do this in order to get there, in order to be that way.
Yeah. You're right. When I say I get that sense of relief whenever I see the reality of this, and then I'm thinking, well, what do I do now? What's, how do I maintain this? And this is where, as you say, I get the sense of me coming back, as it's like a mirror reflecting back on itself. It gets fed back into the system. Okay, what do I do with this now?
Okay, so let me say this. Everything that you've ever been through, actually, or remember, everything that's happening for you now, as you interpret it, what your experience is all absolutely fine. It is what it is. And this idea that there's someone to get, somewhere to get, is just an idea. And if that's there, that's also just part of what's going on for you. What you're chasing, getting back to that wonderful experience you had before, is a way of not getting it. every time your mind kicks in any which way, you create a self, or the illusion of a self, a sense of self. Every time the mind utters anything, that happens. But it's not a case of not doing it, because you can't control whether that happens or not. You don't know. You've got no idea where the next thought's going to come from or what it's going to be about, do you? This is a reality. And so it's also just part of it. So there's nothing to do or not do, nowhere to get. You know there's no self there running the show. You know that if you experience something that says, I did this, that's an illusion and that there's only a story about it. You know those things, don't you? Yeah. But knowing those things gets in the road. That's what I meant before when I said everything you know is bullshit. Everything you know, however good it sounds or seems, is just an interference. So you're fucked. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can say, nothing you can think about, nowhere you can go. You can't stay still. You can't not go. So what's left? That's a good
So
answer.
you just, yeah.
Before you started to speak, that was a great answer.
Yes.
Go on. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to, yeah, just to experience whatever's happening, just to be with whatever's happening, and
Oh, you can do that, can you?
No. I can try.
Well, can you? Don't do that. Yeah.
What can happen is that life presents you with certain experiences, like this one, for example, where you are being reminded that you need to look, just look. And then slowly the system will start to look because it gets that that's what needs to be done. And then by looking, not something you do, but because you've been now reconditioned to look, stuff can be revealed. Beliefs that you hold, assumptions that you're making, roles that you're playing, every place you're trying to control what cannot be controlled. All the meanings that you're putting on raw experience through your subjective interpretation that isn't real. It's just something you create. Real in the sense that it's real if you experience it, but not objectively real.
Yes, I like that exercise. Pernille, just always saying to yourself, "Are you sure?" Everything you experience, just "Are you sure?" I find
Say to
that.
yourself, you're not sure.
Say again, sir.
Don't say, are you sure? Say, I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah.
And with that looking, with that seeing, don't get lost in the idea that you can describe or define what it is you see. If you can describe or define it, it's not it. You're not seeing. So the looking that hopefully will happen, that life offers you, doesn't reveal anything that you can describe. It's beyond description. It's too subtle. It's too complex for you to be able to define it. So it's really the act of looking in itself, seeing what is, when seeing is happening, there is no body seeing it. There is no person seeing it. There is no Martin seeing it. That's just a concept. That's just something the mind will say. The experience of seeing is in itself all encompassing, just that experiencing, seeing. And if you define what it is that you see, it will also not be it, be not it. If you can define what you're seeing, you're just creating a story, not only about what you're seeing, but about who's seeing it. So in the seeing, there is only seeing. In the looking, there is only looking. There is no body doing it. It's not object and subject. It's a verb. It's a happening of looking.
Although there is a slight sort of distinction, because I can see that, and I can see what I'm seeing. There's just seeing, and then I'll sort of say to myself, "There's just seeing," and it kind of that flips you into
That
a kind
stops
of
it
cognitive
straight
mode
away,
again.
doesn't
It
it?
stops it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I try to get it back by sort of saying, by you think that by saying that you're going to get the experience, where you don't. You lose experience, but actually then saying to yourself. So it's kind of quite subtle. You have to just stay with the seeing, just be with the seeing, and that's all that you can know, or all that yeah.
Even seeing doesn't do it justice, those words.
No.
There's a stillness in it. There's a openness in it. There's a whole flavor of something there.
I have done quite a few retreats of the Mahasai sort of tradition. You know, that noting, where you just sort of say seeing, when you see something, you say seeing, and that kind of gives you a flavor of it, but then it kind of can then, knock you into the cognitive there's seeing, there's not just the seeing, there's you labeling it as just seeing, which kind of gets away from the seeing. So it's
well, part of a problem, words again. You know too much. You've had too much experience. You've had too much reading. You've had too much whatever, and you want everything to fit into something that you know. And if you remember that time when you had that shift, there was no knowing, or there was all knowing, but there was no knowing of anything. There was just no questions. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there was that very strong feeling that, all these books all make perfect sense, but if it's all almost meaningless, it's,
that's right. Yeah.
you can say.
Well, I'm glad you're here. This is really good stuff, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you all. It's very, very helpful. You've given me a lot to not work on. Yeah.
Okay. These groups are really informal. If you've got something to say when anybody's talking or whatever, you just jump in. Don't be polite. come late, leave early. Don't have to say goodbye or hello. Just do it. Be relaxed about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's really what I need, because I find, as I say, I feel I'm a very self-conscious person, so I'm always very aware of, you know, myself in a context, and that's, you know, it's very unhelpful.
Yeah,
unhelpful.
yeah. Now, so why are you hanging on to that story that you're a self-conscious person? I haven't experienced any self-consciousness with you tonight. You may have had moments where you felt something and that described it, but that's a bullshit story, isn't it? Let's just drop it.
That's what's needed. Yeah, that's what's needed. It is a story. No, I know it's a story when you say it, because when I'm talking to you, I feel, well, again, this is another thing. I often get the sensation when I'm talking that, and I listen to myself talking, it all feels very kind of disorientating, because you feel it, you know, where are these words coming from? You know, who's doing the speaking? It all is just, you know, it seems very like quite a strong insight into, hey, this is real glitch in the matrix, because there's talking here and there's absolutely no self-conscious person doing the talking. They'll be thinking about what they're talking about. All these words are just coming out, and it's just so bizarre, really. It doesn't fit into my my model of reality.
Story about yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is. It's really strange, and I think if I sometimes, you know, I feel I do get quite an insight when I'm just talking, listening to myself talking, because this puts me into a reality which is, yeah, very different to what I'm used to experiencing. And I kind of think if I could just do the same with thinking, if I, when doing this thinking, if I could just realize that these thoughts are just again totally unconnected to me, then I would have more insight. But I find it, yeah, I find it just generally hard to dissociate myself from my thinking, and to get that.
So what I
get
suggest is this video will get published on YouTube, and it's a great opportunity for you to watch it back and listen to yourself, listen to the words that come out of your own mouth, as though you're objectively listening to them. And you might be surprised at what you hear yourself say, which is totally different from where you are right now when words come out of your mouth. But that's it. Words turn up. Who knows where they come from? They're like thoughts. We don't know where they come from. Yeah. So it's a
when I did have that shift, when I did have that shift, it was, as I said, during one of these insight dialogue things, and there must be something very powerful about that. The very fact you're conversing with someone else, you know, I think that opens up a you know, a portal into a kind of
absolutely, yeah,
a reality which you're not used to being exposed to.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, but thank you so much. Yeah, no, that's been really helpful, really useful, and
right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you all.
How are you, Helen?
Hi. At the moment, I'm not in a good place. But what I came on, obviously, I've been listening to all the YouTube stuff. There was something yesterday or day before about everything that happens. No. I can't quite grasp it. It's coming through conditioning. So everything that's sort of projected is through conditioning. And I sort of got it in a sense, and I was sort of chewing it over, and I come on here realizing that it was just another question. It was just more fodder for me to chew on. And I just don't need any more. So as soon as this sort of opened up about questions, and it's all mind questions, I know that. And every question, and then when you just said, we're all fucked, or you're fucked, or we're fucked, I thought, well, it sort of is, yeah. And I realise that everything's getting processed. I've still got that processing. It needs to be processed through mind for safety. I know, I can see that. But I know I'm in a very unsafe place. So there's been a lot of imaginings coming up of the next moment. I've had a very nasty fall, and I've been sort of housebound for 4 weeks, and it's really rocked me physically. Physicalities, it's really sort of ripped everything. You know, I was just getting better after the cancer stuff and all of that, and I would just get it all back to normal. And then this, and it's just like, just pulled the rug from under me. It's completely sort of, I'm totally mobile. Nothing broken, goodness me, no, I don't know how, but it's not broken, but it's a very bad damaged tissue that's, you know, I'm on crutches and I can't go out. And there's a lot of fear of movement, fear of, and it's of, and I can see it's of the next moment. And I know it's a future thing, you know, I'm going to fall, I'm going, you know, this isn't safe, I'm going to. But I know that's happening, but and because at first I thought, oh, it's a good thing. Well, you know, it's give you a chance to sort of sit, meditate, wasn't it? But first 2 weeks, yeah, it was lovely, and yeah, I just settled into that place of, well, I can't move, so it is what it is, and get used to it, you know, because it is. And then the first 2 weeks, all right, and then the second 2 weeks was starting to the head, you know, it was all about, yeah, there was too much time for thinking, and so, yeah, and I know when I get into that thinking, it sort of rumination and catastrophizing and all of that. So, but I know everything you said, you know, about the questions and the safety thing, and I can't do anything about it. And I'm realising there's less and less control. I mean, that fall was just unbelievably strange, like this lack of control. But I'm in this loop again. It feels to be, I know it's not a loop, but it feels to be in that I've had to cancel a holiday again. When I had the cancer treatment, I had to cancel a holiday. So, and plans are getting made, it feels like, and keep getting cancelled. And I just thought, no, it's some sort of living nightmare, this somehow. But I don't know. It is what it is. So I'm sort of, I've got to a stage where I can't see the good that's coming out of this now. But I did at first, but I don't know. But I know that's only thoughts, and I'll realise that, you know, everything changes, and I don't know what I'm saying now, but.
I get that. How long since the cancer treatment's finished? When was your last chemotherapy?
Well, it was ongoing. It was over Christmas, and then they thought they'd seen something on the pancreas, but it turns out, so, you know, I sort of went through all of that, you know, something on the pancreas, and this doesn't sound so good. But it turns out it might be scarring from the operation. So I'm on a 6-monthly recall now for, you know, scanning and screening. I've had that many blimmin' screenings because I had another screening after my fall. I feel like I'm electric. I've had that many. It's just the way things are happening. It's, you know, it is what it is, and I can't do anything about it. Yeah, so I'm on a 6-monthly recall, so that's settled down, and then, like I said, I had this bloody fall. Or if all happened, whichever way you want to look at it.
Oh yeah, well, it's been certainly interesting times. At an understatement, yeah.
But like I say, I come on here with more questions, and then all of that transpired was No, more questions are just brain fodder. It can only be more ruminating thinking.
But I remember when you first got the cancer diagnosis that you were amazingly relaxed about that.
No, and I want to go back there. And I've just heard, no, you can't go back there. You can't go back there.
No, of course you can't go back. No.
No.
So what's changed for you? What's happened that you've arrived in this place, however you just might describe it? That's
I don't know. I really don't know. And it's a dark place. It is dark. Quite dark. But there's nothing I can do about it. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in. I can't move. I can just about move on crutches, but it's just what life seems to be giving me at the minute.
So if you were to say that, and it's a good way to say it. Yeah, life has handed you this particular situation. Must be some value in it for you.
At first I thought there was, but I somehow, I don't know. No. No. But then is there a value? I don't know. I don't know. But these are a gift, these that you put on YouTube and your writings, and that's been a gift. So.
What do you mean? It's made you feel a bit better?
No, not better, but it gives it offers sort of insight into, because there's a lot of doubt. I'm doubting myself sometimes, doubting this, doubting that, and that just puts a bit of a clarity on it sometimes. Other people feel the same, and the stories are global. Everybody feels those events, and that, like the burning, the hand on the, which sort of echoed my position, hand on the pot plate, and it was like, well, yeah, I didn't do this on purpose, sort of thing. So that is sort of echoed, yeah.
Right, so you're not up to calling yourself stupid for doing it?
No, strangers. I sat on the pavement because I fell down the steps onto the pavement, cracked my head as well. It would no, I didn't think that didn't come to mind. First of all, it was just about, can I move my legs? And I found out no, I can't. And it was more of a searching. Right, well, can I feel this? What? So it was more a sort of reorientating myself. No, my head's all right. I know my head's all right, and so it was like a reorientation rather than, why the hell? I mean, obviously a little bit cropped up. I've totally missed a step, but
but that wasn't a major thing. Yeah.
No, it wasn't really. No.
So if we, how does this sound for you, that somehow from that place where you were feeling really relaxed about your cancer diagnosis, the self the illusion of the self has got more solidified, it's grown, it's been more involved in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Somebody once described it as one of these, these amateur, I don't know, these sort of transformers that sort of, I don't know, references some film or other, where it sort of transforms, gathers all the bits gathered together again, and it sort of makes itself up again.
Yeah, and it feels like that's what's happened So the
Yeah.
things that have
Yeah.
happened to you have been a gathering together of these components that you call Helen, and it turns out that some belief in it has arisen.
Yeah. I mean, probably it was always there before, but for some reason I was sort of skating above it. I don't know. I don't know. But it's certainly here now. And it needs a good looking at. But I do look constantly. I do.
Yeah. So what if you looked with the idea not of getting rid of it?
No, just to be with it. Well, but yeah.
Just looking. Just looking.
Yeah. 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 I mean, yesterday I was like what they call doom scrolling, you know, because I've sat around, blah, blah. And I'm doing a lot more of that. I'm like, hold on, I'm doing a lot of this. What am I avoiding? So I sat there and sat with it. And there were some things that came up that were very uncomfortable. So I thought, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Try and recognise when I'm doom scrolling and put that down and sit with the uncomfortable.
Yeah. So straight away though, you say, "Oh, this is wrong," and I'm doing it to avoid something, which may in fact be the case. It certainly may be, but who's doing it, and what are the characteristics of what might be avoided? It's again tied into that illusionary self, isn't it?
Of course, yeah, of course.
Now, it's easy to jump to the conclusion that this is wrong. We've got to stop it. We've got to not do it. We've got to, something else has to happen. But it's happening. It is what it is. What it is. It is what's happening, right?
What it is, yeah.
And if we go, well, it just is what it is. But you know what? I don't actually know what it is. I only know my interpretation of it, and that's not like very accurate.
That's true. Yeah, you don't know what it is, but it is what it is. But you don't know what it is. What it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So
That's a lovely way
does
to
that
look
make you
at it.
feel when you think of it like that?
Yeah.
Is there
There's a pulling away. There's a lack of distance. Then.
Yes. See,
Yeah, because when I'm going, it is what it is. What it is. There is some sort of connection there with some sort of. I'm going through that. It is what it is. There's an I'm going through. Yeah.
Yes.
But when you said I don't know what it is, there was that slightly pulling away. Yeah, distancing it a bit.
So if there's an inevitability in what it is, what this is, that we don't actually know, there's really absolutely nothing we can do or even should consider doing to change it. It's in fact, it's done by the time we become aware of it.
Yeah, so I remember you saying that, and I've looked at that. Yeah, it's already here. Yeah, and a few times I've sort of seen, what if there's there's no me and there's no no identification. What's left? And it is just sort of life doing its lifing thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's,
not only can you not do anything about that, you can't accept it, you can't reject it. It's just what it is.
It's life doing its lifing thing. Yeah.
And it's not doing it to you.
No.
You are it.
Yeah, I've not got it. Yeah, no, I don't get the you are it yet. So there must be still some sort of me in there, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're recognizing now that there's some kind of created separation,
Mm.
that life happens to Helen, or
Mm.
Helen walks through life, but it's not the case. Take
Yeah,
away,
I haven't recognised that. Yeah, true. I haven't seen that. Yeah.
if I was to shoot you and you died, for you, there would be no life, would there? Life depends on you. Life only happens because of you. You are life. Oh, that's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That means you're
But which
upping
bit
it
of
into
his life?
everything, eh?
Which bit of his life? Just
Yeah,
all
no
of it without
bits,
the
no
you?
bits.
Without.
It only works with all of you.
Okay.
I think, the way you're talking now, Vince, can be a bit confusing because you keep saying you. There is the concept of the concept of me needs to be seen for what it is, a concept.
Concept of me.
There is, we're conditioned to believe that there needs to be a me. The me is a concept. There is no me. There is an interpretation that is kind of, the story is interpreted as it is, as if there is a me. Look at the story. There is
Yes.
no
Yes.
me.
Yes. That's what the yeah, that's what the crux is. That when everything's directed through a me, even though there is no me, there is that sense of something here, not located
Yeah,
in the body necessarily, but I think we're so conditioned to having that sense of something's driving the bus, even though you can get to a stage where you think, well, no control, sort of just about accepting that and know that to be the case. I'm actually seeing that every day now about that. There's no control, therefore there's no me. But that's the hurdle somehow, the me thing.
but what is the self? So I heard you earlier say, I'm looking. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for what am I looking for? I've been looking for, like I say, when I'm doom scrolling, looking to see avoidance of going into the body thing, because I've
Yeah.
always avoided that.
So already there you're giving a context that there is somebody avoiding.
True. Yes, true. Of course.
So you're already lost at that point.
Oh my goodness. So if when you say that, I'm avoiding, that there is no avoiding. It's just what it is. But that's everything that we do all the time. That just makes up a whole of day-to-day doing. And oh my goodness. Okay. But it's just life without doing. And how can we build up such an I creature, such a me, such a massive identification?
We've learned to build stories, and the very first one is me.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah,
else gets wrapped around that.
Yeah, I watched a grandchild grow up. He's 5 now, but I watched that happen.
So this is why I often try to push the point to make it clear that everything that we think is happening isn't happening. It's our interpretation, constant interpretation, giving meaning to rawness of life. That's the dream.
But it's that rawness that I seem to want to protect against, I think. That's what it feels. It's that rawness. And I interpret it as cruel.
Because you think there is something to protect.
Yes, there is a danger, yes. And to protect, yes, definitely. Yes.
The crazy thing is when you get there, it's all love.
Oh God, I hope so. Oh God, I hope so. Because this is so painful.
You said earlier that you're in a dark place.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is making it dark?
Fear.
Yeah, or you could say the story you've laid over your situation, wishing it wasn't like this, that you would wish that there is something else other than this.
If I'm brutally
But
honest,
this is
yes.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm brutally honest, yes. Yeah, there's a better place and a better place to be. Oh, definitely, yes. There has to be, yeah. Okay. I don't
But
sometimes
there is this, and then there is whatever story you choose to play. Not choose, but I'm pointing this out because it's just a story you're playing, and it could be a different story.
Of course, yes, it could, yes. Yes, it could. Yeah, I never thought of that. It's like a groove. I've got this groove that, yeah, and I can't seem to. It could be another story. Yes, absolutely, it could. There's no
Or
reason
it
why
could be no story.
Well, yeah, there could be no story. But then that goes back to the rawness of life. It'd be all raw then.
Yeah. That is the letting go, right? The stories is a form of control as well. Is
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is. You're forming stories because you can understand it, and if it's a story, it's going somewhere. It's got an ending. It's got a better ending. Yeah, all the stories are there. Yeah, yeah, true. It's quite brutal in a sense to have all that ripped away.
Yeah, that is also a story, but I get what you're saying.
Okay. But it takes away hope. It takes away future, even though I sort of sense that there can't be a future. but it does take, but then that stories again, isn't it? Yeah.
It's all
Always
story.
the story.
It rips that away.
Can you imagine life with no stories at all? I mean, that's a story, but can you imagine it?
If I'm being brutally honest, no.
Mm.
At the minute, no. Might change, but at the minute, no. Because that's what's happening. I'm making stories up, but the tragedy ones. You know, I'm going to fall. I'm going to, you know, that's going to happen again, or
That rawness is something to be feared.
yeah. Oh yeah. Good grief. Yeah.
Good grief. There you go.
Yeah. Mm.
So now you're fucked. Can't do anything. Mm.
Well, that's how it seems now. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's probably the only honest thing I can tell myself. If there's no stories and there's no this, there's no, yeah, we're fucked. Well, I'm fucked. But I've got a story about the rawness, you see, that it's cruel. But
Yeah. Well, my story about the rawness is that it's pure love.
no.
But my story comes out of experience, but it's still a story. Yeah.
Experience. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yours is not out of experience. That fear that you've got
No.
is based on
No.
other stories. It's not about.
That's
Yeah.
very true. That's very true. Yes, it is. Oh, good grief. Yeah.
So what if you can't stop stories from happening because they're thoughts, aren't they? And thoughts just turn up.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go, okay, I just don't need to engage with that one. What's actually happening now? And when you ask what's actually happening, you recognize that you can't describe it because that's not what's actually happening. That's just a story about what's happening. But when you ask the question, it kind of can take you back to this, to life, to you being part of life,
Mm-hmm.
even though there's no you and there's no life. They're both stories.
Oh, good grief. Yeah. All stories. Stories all the way down. Yeah. You don't realise. Well, I didn't realise. You know, I hear it on the air all the time, the stories, and that's right. Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, that's right. Yeah, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Then next minute, I'm in stories and not realising.
They're seductive. Oh boy, they're they're clever. That's for sure. Yeah.
In the beginning, you said that life is been given to you as it is in the way that you're experiencing it now. And
Yeah.
what if you are the life that has been given, that you are not the one that is been given the life, but you are the life that is. And then all the facts, all the stories that you are experiencing and that you are suffering from is not being given to, they are not coming to you. It's like to put yourself to the other side of the stories. You are the source of the stories. They are not coming to you to make you suffer, but it's like it's your own freedom. You know that you are capable to experience yourself life as it is right now. So it's not that you are a victim of life. You are the life itself.
Gosh, yes, I'm victim. I'm putting myself in a place of victim, aren't I?
Exactly, but you are not really. But you are not really.
No.
You are so free that you are free enough to have an experience of yourself as a victim, but you are not really.
No.
It's your freedom to do it. It's not really that you doing it, of course, but it's out of the freedom. It
Wow.
is the freedom itself.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't quite make that leap stories, but yeah, and I know that's.
It's just that the stories have no no problem. It's just sentences that are made out of words that are made out of letters that have space between themselves. It's just that you think that those stories have something for you, a meaning for you. But if you go inside the story, it's just nothing really, and it is you. In a way, you can say the story is you, but from inside the story there is no suffering, there is nothing there. So you can just go in, uh, not to try to escape stories, but to dive into the stories and see that there is nothing there. And you are all of this already free. And I love you.
Oh, 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 it's so sweet. Thank you.
One of the things that happens with stories is that they seem to want to give meaning to everything. No matter what happens, no matter what we think about, we want to give it a meaning. We want to say, this means such and such. Now, if you think about it, are we superstitious enough? Are we superstitious enough to say that life has an intelligence and that has a plan and it's trying to achieve something? Well, to me, that makes no sense. Life at best could be described as just the culmination of a whole lot of happenings that are influenced by whatever circumstances, conditions are present. And so life is not trying to achieve anything. Life is just what's happening. And if you get that, you can also get that what you took to be a separate you is also just a happening. And if you see that life is a happening and you are a happening, it's easy to see that you are life and life is you. It cannot be separated. Because we're not talking about a thing. Life is not a thing, and you are not a thing. Sure, there's a body, but there's more than the body, isn't there? And do we say that the birds and the trees are part of life? Well, we can kind of say that, but the reality is that they are life in the same way that you are life. And if you get that the closest we can get to defining life is that it's a series of happenings that seem to be happening now. And not we're not in a position to be able to accurately describe them or define them because we've only got our own interpretation, which is based on our own experience. But so this thing called life, not a thing, is indefinable, just as you are also indefinable. Can't be put in a box. Any description or definition is simplistic, doesn't touch a fraction of what you or life actually is. It's so complex, infinitely complex. So if these conditions have coalesced for you to be having this current experiencing and it's unpleasant, there's no intention in that. There's no design for you to experience that. It's just the way things are. And if you can see that a whole lot of the way things are the result of the way you think things are, it's just like the opportunity that happens when the breeze shifts from northeast to northwest. You know, it just comes from a different angle. And there's no, I mean, Bureau of Meteorology might give a reason to that, might apply meaning to it. But the reality is it's just what conditions are present. Some low pressure area shifted and the breeze turned. Some conditions in your life got seen differently, a different perspective on them, and your experience is different. It happens. It just happens. No control. Nobody happening to. Nothing separate from life. It could be that those conditions come from outside or inside. If they're inside, they're very likely your interpretation of things. But you can't change them, but they can change. They will change. In fact, they can't stay the same. That's impossible. No, nothing is static in the world ever, anywhere. Everything's always changing. So, well, I say it's a story, but I say what happens here at these meetings is that we just cast out a whole lot of seeds, and some of them will germinate, and they then become conditions for change. And how much does my wanting things to be more pleasant in your life affect that? I don't know. But it is a condition that's involved in it. Don't be a stranger. It's really good to see you, Helen.
And you. And you.
Tell us how things have been for you, Leaf.
How have things been for me? I'm a bit disoriented, but yeah, came here with a question too, but I think, I don't know, there's so much I get from these conversations now that they seem irrelevant at the moment. So I just, yeah, I just don't think I want to ask them now. So maybe some other time.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No problems. That's fine. Yeah. Hello, Simona. You're a new face for me. Tell us where you're up to on this so-called journey.
Nice to meet you. What I'm up to. I'm trying to understand how to enjoy the moment in all of this. I just went through quite a few weeks of crisis into if there's nothing, if I don't exist, if nothing is real, and there's nothing behind my thoughts, what's the point of life?
Oh,
So
yeah.
and then I got your email yesterday that pretty much explained it. And it was interesting because I read it and I understood it, but I couldn't feel it. And so today I've been looking at me doing things that I love. And I got confused. So I'm there. It's bizarre because it keeps going in and out things. It's like I know all the things, I feel all the things, and then a few weeks later it feels like going back to hell. That's where I'm at.
In hell.
No, it's better than hell then.
Yeah. Okay. So, do I hear you right when I take it that you're saying that it's a bit of a roller coaster ride. You're up and down. You're in and out of things, and that when you're down and out, it feels like things have been undone for you. Would that be accurate?
Yeah. When I'm in that state, yes.
Right, right. Yeah. I can't kind of get my mind around that because I have a better story, and that is that when you're up and things are good, that presents an opportunity for other stuff to come up. And that when that other stuff comes up, you think you're down again, but in fact, it's just an opportunity to clean out some more stuff.
Sure must be.
Yeah. So you're doing a lot of cleaning out at the moment, it seems.
Yeah, I must be having really old crappy house at the moment. Yes.
I wrote a story today that it won't get published for a couple of days because I don't want to bombard people too much. But yeah, it's like we have this concept that we are containers carrying around old trauma, and that in order to wake up, we've got to empty it out. We've got to clean it out. We've got to get rid of it, and then we can be awake. Does it feel to you like you're carrying stuff that needs to get emptied out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I have definitely lived that for many years. Last few months, I was very much into it doesn't matter what I carry because everything has the same meaning. It's just, a thought from where it comes from. So I can't really say I have that feeling right now, that impression. Which is actually something that often surprises me, why I'm able to go that low and feel like literally I forgot everything I've ever done. And those moments, it's quite bizarre. It's not like, I mean, ups and downs, life happens, whatever. And sometimes I can be very present. Yeah, it's just a thought and it just living the moment. Other times when that happens, it's just gone. It's like everything is gone. It's like someone turned the light off and I don't even know where the switch is. And I don't even know there is a switch in that moment. So I can't even be in that state now to really recall it. But I'm not sure if it's just it comes from some physical stuff that I have that it's just all one connected stuff. So, or if it's part of the process, I have no idea.
How long has this been going on for you?
Well, technically my whole life, I've had these moments. Yeah, whenever I've been doing, but even when I wasn't doing any spiritual stuff, a spiritual inquiry or anything else, even in those moments, I would have some downs that were pretty severe. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not bipolar or anything like that. I'm quite sure about that. I have a past as psychologist, so it's a bizarre thing that's not sure. But yeah.
Would you say this is presumptuous of me here, but bear with me. Would you say that in the early days this was somehow tied to your menstrual cycles?
Could be.
But that wouldn't be the case anymore, I presume.
Yeah. No, it can't be the case anymore at all. Like there's nothing left, literally. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you describe them as an existential black hole?
Almost. And it's impossible to attach it to any event that could have happened. I go back one way at night and I wake up that way in the morning.
So how do you feel about what appears to be a fact that there is no logical explanation for all of this?
now I'm okay with it. I in that moment, no, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, right. Because an explanation is some hope for fixing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So right now you're not in the deepest. Are you right out of it or partially?
And I'm past it. Um, I'm just going slow because you know, just being where I am, not trying to go anywhere else or be anywhere else. So
Mm.
but I've had a few days like that. I mean, they're short now, but still they're so bizarre. It's like literally someone's
Mm.
turned a switch and
So did I just hear you say that they're now shorter than they used to be? The
yes.
s- the cycles themselves shorter, or just the period of down shorter?
They last less time. It can
Right,
last a day or two, or in the past it could be a few weeks. And
right.
also they're further apart. So it's
Yep.
time in between can be months and months now. So
Mm. So would you say that your initial migration uh, onto this spiritual journey was um, motivated by these cycles, that you were hoping that that was going to fix it?
no, I wouldn't say that. No, it was I since I was a kid, I would just look at people and tell them, "You have no idea. Life is not this. This is just
Yeah,
not
yeah,
life.
yeah, I get it.
Life
Yeah,
is what's, you know."
yeah. So I often
I
ask people,
yeah.
how old were you when you first realized you were different to the other kids?
Whew, tiny. I was in elementary school having all my idea of no, this is just a thought of God and it's all created or whatever. It comes out of the nothing, it creates everything. I had these whole images that I so wanted to tell everyone, but they looked at me like I was nuts. So I
Yeah, yeah,
stopped.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you were starting to realize you're a weirdo at that stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Join the club. Thank you.
yeah, I guess, right? I didn't know there was such a big club back then. I would
Yeah.
felt a lot
Well,
more.
it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Uh,
And yeah, that was the thing. And then I didn't want to have anything to do with any religious, spiritual stuff because I grew up in Switzerland, so Catholicism and just
yeah, yeah,
normal
yeah.
stuff. I had no idea there was even anything else that people did for the
Right.
longest time. So yeah.
So I guess you two have had extensive experiences with various whatever you want to call them, from Buddhism to
But
yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, me too. I was a seeker for 45 years, actively seeking, obsessively seeking. So, yeah, I get that looking thing. Yeah.
maybe it's just maybe just I still don't know how to stop the looking. Maybe sometimes I just go
Yeah.
back to look at something and then I get bumped and bump in a wall or something and it just goes like, oh my goodness, and then all stuff just comes up. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, some part of us recognizes something. I think, at least that's for me, it was the case that I felt like, yeah, I know that this is appropriate to go down this path. Yeah. So have you had a moment anywhere in your life where you've felt that you've got it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had quite a few experiences. Like the biggest one was some 12 years ago, 13, oh my God, a little bit over, something like that. But yeah, That was the best thing that ever happened in this lifetime. And then obviously after that, I spent years trying to go back to that spot where, yes,
Yeah.
complete oneness. You know, I was writing with a pen, tried to write down. When I came back to consciousness, I just remember laughing and needing to write down. But I was in such a state that I didn't care about writing down. Why should I write down?
Yeah, why bother? Yeah, exactly.
Why bother? And by the time I actually got up and started doing it, the memory, it's like I saw all of creation and everything. It was just right there. And it was just like, oh my God, I've never suffered one instant in my whole life. That was the biggest message I brought back. And then for a few weeks, I had this feeling of everything is one. Pen I write, what I write on, it's just like, it's exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter. There's no separation, nothing different. And, you know, the bliss state. And then suddenly started disappearing and I started clinging to it with my nails and
Yeah, right. Yep, yep, yep. And I want to get back to that, eh?
yeah.
Yeah,
And there's no
right.
getting back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, well, you should watch this video after it gets published because somebody else here had a similar experience, and so that lots of things will get said again if we, when we go down that road a little bit. But yeah, very relevant stuff. Yeah, and way more frequent, more common than you imagine, that people have the moment and then they spend years trying to get back to it. And I want to tell you, you're never going to get back to it, right? You'll go forward to something different, but you're never going to go back. You can't go back.
I've heard that now
But,
so many times.
yeah,
I can't tell you I like it, but I'm starting to accept it. So
yeah. It's not to say that what will turn up will be any less profound, or however you want to describe it. But it will. But you're different. You've changed. How can you possibly experience something that was relevant for an old Simona, not the new one? There is no continuity. This is an illusion that the past creates the present, creates the future. It's bullshit. There is no continuity. Every moment, every instant is fresh.
yeah,
Absolutely.
there's that. And also I've seen that now I would have expectations because I would want to make it in a certain way, which is obviously not even the way it was, because I can't recreate that in my thoughts, my images, because it's just not possible.
Mm.
But I want to. So anything that would ever happen could not possibly be what I would expect it to be. So as of the start, that's impossible.
Yep. So it's not appropriate. It's a word that wants to come to mind, but it's not quite right either. But it's not. Yeah, I'll just have to say appropriate. It's not appropriate to go, don't have expectations. They're wrong, right? You know that they're just a story. There's nothing you can do about how right or wrong they are. You also can't control whether they turn up or not. They just happen, don't they?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So really, you've got no choice about anything here, but there appears to be a choice about whether you engage with them or whether you just allow them to run and do their thing in the background. Now, it's not really a choice, but the fact that we've mentioned this here, this conversation is about that kind of adds a condition that means that it could possibly happen like that. Okay, if expectations turn up, they turn up. I just don't need to put a lot of energy into them simply because I know they're just a story. I'm not going to refute them. I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm not going to say they shouldn't be here. I'm just going to say, well, okay, go over there in the other side of the room and do your thing, and just leave me alone. I'm busy with something else called life. But of course, they're part of life as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the tricky part of just allowing thoughts to be, not
Yeah.
engaging in that regard, and doing the thing about you shouldn't be here because you're not,
Yeah.
thought.
That's a really, really big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We go from where, you're way beyond the point where you get lost in stories, in thoughts, and you don't even realize you're lost in them. You do realize you're lost in them at some point. Maybe not the moment it starts, but you'll always come to the point where you realize you've been lost in stories. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I figured, yeah. So that's a critical moment when you do realize that you were lost, right? That recognition, that moment when you go, oh, I was lost. Ah, yes, right?
Mhm.
And it's not a case of berating yourself, no judgment, no opinion about it, just a recognition of the fact that it was the case. And because of the recognition, it's now no longer the case, right? You've stepped out of the content of the story when you recognize that there was a story that you were lost in it.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
if you take that moment and celebrate it in some way, and I suggest that the best way to celebrate it is to laugh, have a laugh at it, right?
Yeah.
Because that makes it a special moment, a special point, right? You anchor that happening of moving out of the content of the story into objectifying it, just seeing that it had happened. And by doing that laughing, what will happen is that you'll get to get better and better and better at seeing that you were lost in a story. And the consequence of that is that you'll see it sooner, and you thwart the way the brain works. You thwart the old neuronal pathways that was promising you satisfaction if you continued to go down it to the end. Follow me down this rabbit hole and I'll give you satisfaction, is what thoughts offer, kind of thing. And by not doing that, what happens is you shift everything over to the other side of your brain. You start to develop pathways in the right brain. Synapses start connecting, and you develop a different way of responding to what goes on. And eventually, and when I say eventually, I'm talking about only maybe a few weeks, 6 weeks, something like that, you'll start recognizing that you were about to get lost in a story before it actually happens. Right. And that as soon as you recognize it, it's finished, it's done. It doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. That laughing that you say is quite true, because I have caught myself lately when I'm about to do that, and then I see it, and I notice what I notice in that moment is actually my smile.
Yes,
It
yes.
doesn't really happen that often that I smile. So when I catch myself in the smile, it actually then makes me laugh, because I'm smiling at the fact that I saw my thought and what I was about to do.
Great,
So
great.
that is totally true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're already down that path to a fair degree. That's excellent stuff. Really good stuff. Yeah. Right. And we got to be a bit careful here, because that can give us the idea that we've got to fix something. We've got to stop something from happening, right? And of course, the moment we get lost in that, what we do is we create resistance. And
Yeah.
guess what? This is a really good big one. That resistance creates a self, because it's happening to somebody.
Yep.
Yeah. And so what we want to do is we want to avoid creating resistance. And that's part of the why laughing. And laughing is great. Laughing happens with discovery. Right. And so, you know, stand-up comedians know how to do that. They take you down this one path, and then all of a sudden they switch the story, and then that discovery is what makes people laugh. That recognition of a new something different. And so that's what happens when you discover that yourself. And so the whole idea is it's again, it's just a happening. It's not you doing it, right? Because we've talked about it, that seed might germinate and then away it'll go. But you've already discovered this for yourself. So that's a really big one. That's really excellent. Yeah. So that in that way, I would say you're well and truly on your way to not getting lost in stories uh, in the same way. What happens when we don't? What happens when the story gets dissolved? What are we left with? This is a pretty big one. What we're left with is just this, and we can't really define it or describe it. If we are happy with that, right, we can experience what I call this, whatever is actual for you, which is just your experience, nothing more. But your experience is also your interpretation of what's happening. And your interpretation is defined by your perspective. And your perspective evolved from your experience in life, from your history, from all of the conditions that are present. And so none of it is in our control. It is just the way it is. Right? So, but what we can come to here with this, which is quite a big one, is that we don't know what this is. At best, we can know our own interpretation.
Oh, yeah. It is. There's like, it's an overlap of terror of getting completely lost and complete freedom that intersect at the same point.
Yeah. I'm excited that you get that. That is a big one. So you said that those two things intersect. Did I hear you right?
Yeah, because I'm looking back at some of those moments and in order to experience that moment, you gotta let go of the control of wanting the story, of wanting that outcome, just letting it be. And that means letting go of the story of who you are, all the list you just gave about all the filters and everything else, because otherwise it's our description of it, and then we're happy in ourselves, you know. But at the same time, if that happens, then there's not that freedom of allowing to
Yes.
go beyond that. It's like an instant with all every possible choice in it.
What's happening for you now?
Trying to let it be as it is.
Mm.
Didn't want to, attach stuff to it.
Excellent.
Yeah. Interesting. Thanks. I guess was a good moment to see if there was anything going online, because we're in Europe and sometimes I try, but I never get the right timing for stuff. So, and I have to go actually pretty soon, but that was a perfect moment.
Mm.
Yeah, I did find it. See?
Oh, thank you. I really like where you're at. I think that's yeah. You've got a really wide perspective on things. That's really great. I like that. Yeah.
Nice feedback.
Mm. So if you can experience what you're feeling in the body now,
Mm-hmm.
and try and I mean, obviously these words aren't meant to be literal, but um, they kind of you get what I mean anyway. And that is that if you can experience what you're feeling, where you're feeling it, what it feels like, and anchor that in your memory as something that you can almost recreate by simply remembering it, then there'll be those moments when it's available to you to bring that back into the middle of shit happening.
Yeah. Quite interesting that you said this right now, because like I was doing something about an hour ago and I was feeling into all the sensation I was having, and I realized that something that I had labeled as anxiety for pretty much my whole life was actually joy. But because joy was tainted by, stuff in my growing up, so joy was probably labeled as anxiety because it didn't bring something good to be joyful. And I was a discovery I just had. And now you're saying that because I was thinking I shall remember this. So next time I can go in and look again and see what it is, if it is actually anxiety or not. And now you're saying that I'm having a very similar feeling in my body. It's very much around my heart and stuff. But it's not palpitation of fear, it's just palpitation of actually some extension of something.
Yep.
Something wide and opening almost.
Yep. Excellent.
And,
Yes.
and so you saying that is quite interesting.
Yep. Yep. So here's an extension of that for you. A feeling is a sensation with stories attached to it.
Yeah.
Right? And if you get a feeling of fear, that's a sensation with a story of something to be afraid of. But if you're standing in front of the Big Dipper and you like that kind of thing, that same sensation with a different story becomes excitement. And the difference in the sensation is very little, if anything. It's the stories that give it meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And you discovered that yourself as well. I just love you for that. Being able to find those things for yourself. That's brilliant. That what you said about joy and so on. That's great. So if you recognize that what gives the sensation meaning are stories, and sometimes those stories we're not even aware of. They happen at a subliminal level kind of thing. But now, when you get a certain sensation happening or a certain feeling happening, you're likely to look for what might be attached to it in the way of a story that gives it meaning. Why do you call it anxiety or joy or whatever? It's because of the story, not because of the sensation. The sensation contains no instruction or information.
Yeah. And there's this little voice when I try to just look at the sensation. It goes, no, but this is that. And so it's
Yeah,
literally going through a comb. No, wait a second. Story. No, that's there. No, that's story. No, that's story again. Wait a second. What's there? And it's interesting because the story then is capable of changing the sensation. Because if I add a story, let's say that is happier or more sad or whatever, the sensation can get stronger or lighter.
Mm,
And so that becomes this entanglement. But what was the original sensation? But doesn't
yes,
matter because that's a story again. So the sensation original is now. So it
exactly.
becomes,
Yeah.
it get lost in there.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So I wrote a piece recently, a little story about that, where the first arrow, second arrow thing, you know, but it's much more complex than that. You know, there's the original conditions that stimulated something to happen, and then there's stories about it, and then there's reactions to the stories about it.
Yeah.
So we get a second actual experience, and then we can apply meaning to that, and then react to that meaning, and get it, and it can go on and on all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very complex. Yeah, but making it simplistic is just to recognize, you know, yes, when you did it again, you saw for yourself what's the original, and then what's the one that I'm reacting to after that, which is the
Mm-hmm.
reaction to the story of meaning about what happened. Yeah, good stuff.
Nice to had feedback and not just sit here and wondering all the time if I'm on the right way. It feels okay, but you know, maybe I'm just telling myself another bigger story. So it's nice to have very appreciated.
Mm. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you came. Yeah. Don't be a stranger. Let's keep on pushing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I have to run now. I'm sorry, but well, yeah, I'll totally come back as soon as it's possible
Yeah,
for
no
timelines.
problem.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
so
no
very
worries.
much.
Yeah,
And okay, everyone, so nice meeting you. I sometimes see you on
good
on
stuff. Yeah.
recording. Happy to.
And do watch this video when I publish it.
Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah,
absolutely will.
good
Yeah,
stuff
thank you
there.
so very much.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Mm. Bit of serendipity there, Martin. You're muted. No, you're muted again. You hit it twice. That's better.
Yeah, I'm not very clever with these things, and that's not just a story.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, thank you for reiterating that. Yeah, that you can't go back. That's not something to try to achieve. And yeah, when I went in that ayahuasca thing, you know, it really was, you know, desperate to try to recreate what I had experienced before. And you know, you speak to so many people who do these things. I don't know if you have an experience of it, but people, you know, have wonderful, you know, enriching experiences doing these ceremonies. But for me, it was just sheer terror. I'd never felt terror like it. I mean, it was, you know, fortunately in my life, I haven't had many fearful experiences, but I experienced fear that was so, you know, I was just screaming for hour after hour. It was just, and it did leave me very traumatized. And, you know, I thought, you know, that kind of maybe happened for a reason. You know, maybe you weren't meant to try to push these things. You just had to let the universe take its own course, and what will happen will happen. Again, that's just a story, isn't it? But it's made me feel that, yeah, that I had messed things up kind of big time. Having said that, there were, over the months, some insights did then percolate out of the experience. At the time, the experience was very solipsistic. I felt that it's funny because earlier when you're talking to Helen there, and you're saying about do you feel that it's just this, that you are everything, that this is just it? And I often get that experience that this is it. It's kind of bizarre, but yeah, this is it. And not that I am the universe, but the universe is me. It's all kind of just here. But under the ayahuasca, that all then just condensed down. So rather than expansive, it all just collapsed into that I was the universe. I was all that existed. And that was really terrifying, that everything was dependent on me. The whole universe was dependent on me. And I got this, maybe this isn't so interesting, Vince, but I got this feeling that the whole universe was dependent on me, and it had all gone wrong, that the universe, whoever had set this whole thing up, it was all a big mistake. And that only by me accepting my suffering could I end this, and could the whole universe just stop? The whole experiment could stop, and all these people up in the sky in some laboratory who had set this experiment going, and they were all kind of desperate because it had all gone wrong. And until I could accept the suffering, then this would just go on forever. And me dying wasn't going to make a difference. I could even die. I wasn't scared of death, because death would have been fine. But I felt that I was going to go on forever until this ended. So I don't know if that's all a story or if it's just kind of what I was feeling, but it did mess me up to some degree for quite a period.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I wouldn't be so quick to write it off as not relevant. I would, in spite of the nature of the experience, the unpleasant nature of it, I would suggest that there's good things to be found in it.
Mm-hmm.
That intense fear or horror, or I mean, obviously words again don't really work literally to explain it, but whatever that aspect of it was, it's offering you something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to do this, but I will today, and that is that I won't go any further with it at the moment, because I want you to just allow that possibility to percolate around a little bit and see let's see what comes out of it. Otherwise, it's just me telling you stuff. That's no good for you. But yeah, so you could go as far as to say what led you to do it. Now you could almost say you've already kind of given us some idea of what might have led you to do it, but the actual circumstances, why then, why now, not later, why not earlier, why not years ago, why that one and not psilocybin or LSD or some other thing? There's a whole lot of things involved in that. And without arriving at a conclusion or an answer, just consider that the whole experience was offering something for you that you don't yet realize, but you might when you let it percolate around and see what happens. And we'll come back to it and explore it at some future time if it comes up. Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
Things don't happen
if
by accident. I don't believe in coincidences, so to speak.
No, this was the whole thing, because after the experience, I just kept getting these synchronicities, these feeling that, oh, this song was playing for a reason, or I was in a place for a particular reason.
Yes.
Like this was all the time, these things were just falling. And that's kind of frightening in a way, to think that there was some, and again, as I say, I felt there was someone was controlling all of this. And as you say, how did I end up in that place doing that at that time? Well, again, I could see that there wasn't much control. I felt I'd been led to it in some way. And then you kind of interpret this being led as, oh, there's some greater force, manipulating all of this that is happening. And that was kind of, again, I found quite frightening, because, as I say, I felt that there were some experiments, some people were manipulating things that had gone wrong to some degree. So it's the, if I could drop this sense of self that someone was manipulating me, well, it's paranoid, I felt sort of paranoid. But whenever I could then just let go of that and say, well, just go with it, whatever the story is, just go with it. Well, then that you could relax into it in a way. But if you try to hold on to this idea that it was you were being controlled, then that was kind of very frightening. Just in the cold light of day for weeks afterwards, these little things would come up that I felt I was being, oh, I'm here for a reason. And just to elaborate the story a bit again, I did get this feeling that, because have all this Buddhist doctrine, or not doctrine, theories put in mind, that suffering, the end of suffering, and it's only when you accept what's happening will suffering end. And then maybe it's kind of the very Catholic, because this is South America kind of culture you're in. I got this intense feeling that Christ was hung on the cross, and until he could accept his suffering on the cross, he wouldn't be reborn. Because I felt I was reborn after this whole thing. It felt like I could understand that, the way people talk about being reborn, and I felt reborn, and I thought, well, actually, I'm not going to be reborn until I could be nailed to a cross and accept that degree of suffering. And that was kind of then frightening. Anytime I went into a church and saw crucifixion, it really, I had a very strong reaction to it, thinking, God, this is going to go on forever until I can accept that. And really, I couldn't say I ever could accept it.
I think you're closer with what you just said about all of that than you imagine. Again, just let it percolate around a little bit. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I've got a couple of stories here that if I tell you my stories, then I might interfere with what comes up for you. So but I think you were trundling around in the midst of it right there then with what you told me. But so let's see what happens. Yeah.
Sure.
How are you, Bianca?
What Martin said resonates. Although I wouldn't say dependent on me, but this goes on dependent on me. Maybe in a sense of bigger me, although that is misleading. Yeah, when Anton was talking about freedom, that life is completely free, and the thought appeared that I don't buy this story. That's a nice story. That doesn't mean that my story is better. I wouldn't say that life is free, It follows mechanisms, and all of it are coping mechanisms. Like weather has patterns, follows mechanisms. The story of freedom is coping mechanism. Laughing is coping mechanism. The story about mechanism is a coping mechanism. And there is no escape from that. It's like Martin said, this mechanism continues and they continue and continue. I can die, it doesn't change anything. So it's like life is not free from itself. I wonder what Anton would say to that.
He's thinking. I'm thinking.
Well, in a way, I completely agree with you. There, like, for me, the word freedom is just another description that can be a label to this, but no description will be correct, of course. I like freedom. I like this specific description, but it's really just what it is. And when I say freedom, I I mean that it can be whatever it will be. It doesn't act in ways that we are wanting it to act or not wanting it to act. It doesn't know anything about our desires and aversions. So it's free as it is, but it's not freedom for someone. It's not freedom for me. I'm free. It's not freedom for. It's a freedom for no one. All there is in a sense, without a sense, is this freedom. So it it is not good and it is not bad, and it is just what it is, as it is. But uh, when there is no me uh, that want something from it, it it feels like freedom. It's open. It's without nothing that is stopping it from being what it is already. And it is always like this, but this sense of me uh, make it feels as if it is not. But this sense itself included in the freedom, it's so free that it can feel as if it is not. But it because it is free, not yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand. And it still doesn't feel free for me.
That's
well,
that's the critical point, isn't it? So is freedom something, or are we talking about feeling free? So if I accept
Yeah.
that this is it and I have no control over this, it is what it is, the inevitability of that, and it could be mechanistic, as you say, it appears often that it is mechanistic, but the inevitability of it means that there is no point in any resistance. and a lack of resistance equates to freedom. So we're not
Yes,
talking about
yeah, but you
freedom
know,
that says we can do whatever we want. We're talking about feeling not restricted.
and the resistance is the me. There is no entity me. There is only
yeah,
resistance. And it feels as if someone is resisting, but it's just a feeling.
yeah, and
A-
it's still here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe if you try, maybe it may happen that you will go to this feeling and not try to avoid it. And then when you feel this resistance without a label, it's not really it can be even joyful, even
Oh yeah, yeah,
physical,
yeah, yeah.
even
Absolutely.
physical pain can be joyful, but it's still a state. Like, you don't have labels, you are blank, it can be pain and you are okay with it, and even joyful, but it's a state. Like, a thought can enter
And
and
I think because it feels, it can feel joyful, um, because of that, I think it's another kind of coping mechanism.
well, it I will say that I can agree with that, and but
Mhm.
I think it is like, for me, preferable than drugs, let's say, or alcohol, or but yes, it's a state, like being without a thought, like samadhi. Yeah, it's still a state. It is not woo woo, it's just a state. So in a way, yes, it's a coping, it can be a coping mechanism if you are trying to experience it in order to avoid something else.
Mm.
But you will not able to. It's usually, it comes when it comes. So, and
Yes,
you,
maybe we have different definition of coping mechanism, because for me, I don't have to try to avoid something. So the mechanism can go up, you know. I don't have to be conscious of it, that I'm trying to avoid something. I may have no idea about it.
I'm not completely understanding what you're saying.
Um, like after trauma, you can lose memories of the event.
Of what?
Of the event, of trauma.
Of the event, yes. Okay, yes.
Yeah, it's not that the traumatized person tries to avoid it. They don't remember.
I
The
see,
memory
yeah.
was
It's not happening,
erased.
yeah, it's not
But
conscious, it's not a choice, of
yeah,
course.
but it
Yes, of
is
course.
a coping mechanism.
Yes, of the system, of the body. Yes. So
and the resistance is like that.
Yes, of course, you cannot stop it. Yes.
Are you suggesting, Bianca, that there is something that always to be coped with? Right. So it's not just trauma, but you're saying that everyday life needs coping with. So you would see everyday life as traumatic in one degree or another.
Yeah. Traumatic is a strong word,
It
but
doesn't have to be that extreme, but
very, very, very little traumatic.
yeah.
No, it's like there is a Buddhist sutta where a Buddha compares sensations and feelings to a cow skinned alive, and this sensation and feelings are like bugs pecking, stinging. Oh, stinging. Sorry about my English.
So say it another way. Sensations and feelings are what?
are like bugs stinging a cow that was skinned alive.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
awful.
yeah, that's a pretty extreme image. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. He wanted to really make a point with this one.
Yeah. Wow, yes. Okay. So obviously that needs coping with. Yes. Mm. Hmm.
Well, it sounds that you are not feeling safe in the world, to me. Am I correct? Can it be described like this, in that way?
It's that my situation, you know, from the intellectual point, I am very safe.
No. I mean,
But
how you feel. Yeah.
how I feel about the world is it's not a safe place. No, of course not.
Yes, and those feelings we usually have with us from childhood. So it's like we are reacting to reality as adults from a place within us that is 3 years old, 5 years old. So we, with the mind, we understand, no, everything is okay, I'm safe. But the feeling is 3 years old, really. So it creates a situation of dissonance, and I find that it can be helpful to do some kind of emotional work.
No, I am searching in this direction, although my childhood also was very safe. So I'm left with infant trauma or generational trauma.
Yeah, could even be epigenetics. Could be not your trauma, but your parents' or grandparents' trauma, even. That's possible.
And it is true that I have a desire for all of this to not exist. And I believe that this desire is a coping mechanism. That is something I've learned from psychology, but also, well, I can't say why. I believe it. For some reason, the moment I heard it, I said, I believe it. It's true.
Yeah,
I feel it in my gut. It's true. But still, it's like I have to know how does it arise to really believe it.
What do you mean by that? How? What arises?
The desire to not exist.
No, it's the desire for an experience
No.
that you think that it is a desire to not exist, but no one have such a desire. It can be a story, a layer. It's always a desire for a better experience. And sometimes it seems that maybe if I tried couple times in my life to commit suicide, but it's not that I wanted to not exist. I just wanted a better experience, and I did not saw a way other than this. But
because there is no way.
Yes, there is no way. But eventually you see that there is no way out but this. Like, there is no way out. It's only stay as it is.
How can I see it for myself?
Well, do you have something else right now?
Buddhism.
What?
Buddhism.
Where is it? Where is it?
Well, what Martin said. It's, what that the Buddhism says it can end. There will be no more rebirth.
When? Somewhere else? In the future?
After death.
That does not exist? After...
Or...
Okay. But all those ideas are happening right now in you.
Yeah.
You see? Yes. So you don't really have something else but this now. and all of those thoughts about an experience that is not here are here. So
about
you are
non-experience.
okay, but you are experiencing an idea about non-experiencing, and you are experiencing it now. And this is always like this. There is no salvation in the future. There is no salvation anywhere but here, and it is not salvation because it's already as it is, and it will not really change. It seems to change, but all the change is just always this. So it's not really changing. And you are not separate from it.
Then I want to be separate from it.
And this the desire is not separate, and it's okay. And you see, and it's always like this. There is no escape. It's like a wall. You cannot go from left, from right, it's just like this always.
Yes, I can see I am going in circles and I can't stop this going in circles.
Of course you can't. But it may stop or may not, but as long as you want it to stop, well, it's a story. It's all a story. It's just like you cannot really do anything with it. But in a way, when you feel it, and it may happen, the system starts to relax even with pain, with some kind of emotions and thoughts, with all of that, including everything all together, it's just starting to be okay with itself, and you are not making it. It may happen, but not by you wanting it. My experience was the opposite. Like when I tried and I tried and I tried, I had a small silence, like a small silence that I really need. And when I just saw that it's all the same, it became infinite. And I know that it's always here. So I might feel pain and emotions, but I know it's all included. And it may release itself, yeah, with time, and it may not. I'm not controlling it.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't matter if it does or not.
of course, yes. Like sometimes, of course, when it's harsh, I feel that I want to change it. But it's fleeting. It's okay as well. I'm not resisting this. So it's there can be a resistance, but I'm okay with it. So I'm not enlightened, but all there is enlightenment. So I'm not more enlightened than you. Like it's a joke, really.
You could say wanting it to stop is what keeps it going. But there's a trap in that. I mean,
It's in,
that
yes,
be true, but the trap is you can't do anything about it. It suggests that you can not want it to, which keeps it going, but that's not possible. These things might happen or not happen, so it's irrelevant. It just is the way it is. And if you're running in circles, just enjoy them. All right, well, it's coming up to midnight here. It's time for me to go to bed. Thank you, everybody. Present or not, yes. Thanks, Jed.
Thanks, man. Good luck.